let's just be really specific about what's happened with the treaty. It's been suspended, but the water has not yet been stopped. Just be...
So first of all, there's no legal term to suspend or hold in abeyance. That's the word they use, the treaty. According to the treaty itself, which is not just between India and Pakistan, but has international institutions as a party to it, no changes can be made to the treaty without mutual consent. There is no such thing as hold in abeyance or suspend. That is a violation of the treaty.
The water hasn't stopped flowing.
So they don't have the capacity at the moment to completely stop flowing the water. However, they are able to delay the release of water, which even if in sort of a country like Pakistan, which is an agrarian economy, even a week's delay in the water can kill your crop. They're not sharing the data as a lower riparian, that's our right, about the status of the water, etc. And there's a whole host of things that they're doing that is still sort of, unacceptable. Were they to build new canals or try and build a new dam on the three rivers that are in Pakistan's domain, then for us, we'd have to take a more aggressive step.
And that would be what, as you rightly point out, wars have been fought in the past between India and Pakistan. The treaty has never been suspended as it has been now. It's the first time since 1960, so it's a real inflection point. Look, you said you were on a delegation to speak to people in capitals. You were in the United States just the other day, on Thursday, challenged by a congressman called Brad Sherman to reduce any connections and to stamp down on terrorism in Pakistan, particularly the group Jaish-al-Mohammed.
I really appreciate Mr. Sherman's role within the House of the United States. His tweets don't necessarily reflect the conversation we actually had when we were there.
Having said that, ask you to stamp down on terrorism.
Having said that, the points he did make are legitimate. Pakistan has and does combat terror within its own country, particularly the groups that are mentioned in his tweet. But perhaps he, missed talking when I was sort of physically there. Those groups, Pakistan has taken effective action against under the FATF framework. When I was foreign minister, Pakistan was on the FATF grey list, and we managed to move it towards the FATF white list by the end of my term. That means that the FATF is an organization, the international community endorses Pakistan's actions against such groups.
But can more be done, though? Can more be done? I mean, look,
I feel that as far as said this, India, first of all, the terrorist attack that took place in India had nothing to do. So the two different things. Terror groups within Pakistan, Pakistan's taking action against to the sort of within our capability. The terrorist...
I want to say fullest, then did you?
The fullest, obviously, why would I not want to say fullest? That's what I want to say. What I was trying to say is the terrorist attack that did take place in India had nothing to do with Pakistan. That was an indigenous group within India. And therefore, I can't take action against those groups. The fact that India wants to blame Pakistan for actions of those groups within its own territory is sort of counterproductive.
How was peace brokered this time? President Trump's wants to take credit for it. Is that true?
I think President Trump deserves credit for the ceasefire that we've managed to achieve. Absolutely. The United States, President Trump, Secretary Rubio were engaged with both Pakistan and India in order to achieve this ceasefire. I can't explain why India won't admit the truth, but throughout this episode, what we've seen is India is engaged in misinformation, disinformation. They've not been honest with their own public. They've not been honest with the media. They've not been honest with their allies. And this is one additional thing that they're not honest about.
Of course, the Indian government are here to defend themselves, but when you say not admit the truth, what truths do you think they need to admit to?
बिलावल भुट्टो ज़रदारी गैर मुल्की मीडिया को इंटरव्यू दे रहे थे। उन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तान एक जिम्मेदार एटमी रियासत है। पाकिस्तान ने कहा पानी को रोकना जंग तस्वुर होगा। उनका मकसद उनका
They cannot name a single terrorist that was involved in this attack. They went to war with a nuclear armed power. They can't tell you, they can't tell me, they can't tell the people of India which terrorist was involved in this attack, what's his name, where did he come from, if you claim he came from Pakistan, which town, which border crossing. I mean, these are basics that I believe by this point, if India was being honest, that information would have come forward.
Questions we need to put to India itself.
Absolutely.
You were in the UK for meetings. We talked about your meetings in the US. What would you want to hear from the UK government?
I think the UK has a unique role in this entire situation. First of all, obviously, the United Kingdom played a part in partition, the unresolved issue of Kashmir. There's a British legacy there. which I believe they bring a certain context to, a certain perspective to. There's a large population, people from India, people from or of Indian descent, of Pakistani descent, that live here in the UK. I don't think we can isolate ourselves from.
Could they broker peace talks between the two sides?
Broker or not broker, I think it's important, when it comes to the issue of water, that no matter where you stand or what your positions are, how close you are with India, that's something that we all have to draw as a red line on the basis of sort of a humanitarian perspective. They should absolutely encourage India to engage in dialogue with Pakistan. Look, India said no to an impartial investigation when we asked for one into the terrorist attack. They say no to mediation, be it from the UK or the US, and they say no to dialogue with Pakistan. So then if they're stuck in the status quo, we've lowered the conflict threshold between India and Pakistan to the point where any terrorist attack means war. There's no dispute resolution mechanism between two nuclear armed powers. That's not a tenable situation. It means that South Asia is insecure, and by extension the region and the globe. So everybody's affected by this.
So look, you've seen the Prime Ministers at London Tech Week. You're going to hear, I guess, from David Lammy as well, and speak to people within the Foreign Office. What do you need to hear specifically from those individuals? What words do they need to use that will reassure you can go back to
We've had really positive, when I was still in Pakistan, immediately after this conflict, that the ceasefire had just been broken out. David Lammy visited Pakistan. He engaged with us. He appreciated that the ceasefire is fragile. I believe the United Kingdom government is keen to encourage both sides to engage in a dialogue so that we can deal with all issues. It's only the Indians that are being difficult about this.
Okay, well, as I said, we need to get a response from...
Please ask them all the questions you want.
You're going off to Europe as well to have these same conversations.
Absolutely.
So we will speak with you again. Now I want to speak to you about a domestic issue, if I can, Bilawal.
Sure.
It's been reported online that Imran Khan, the political opponent who's been sentenced to 14 years in prison, could be bailed on the 11th of June. What truth is there in that report?
I don't know, but if it's, there's a legal process in Pakistan, and if the court and everything feel that he deserves to be let out on bail, like, we'd support that. It's absolutely his right.
There'd be no challenge to the court's proceeding from your
well, there
party?
may be, not from me personally or from my party. I'm actually not aware about the specifics. It's the first time hearing this is from you. But if it's true, then that's part of the legal process.
Okay.
That's part of
the 11th of June, so a couple of days' time. All right. Bilawal, look, it's good to speak with you today. All the best on the rest of the trip around Europe, and see you again. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
चेयरमैन पाकिस्तान पीपल्स पार्टी बिलावल भुट्टो जरदारी इस वक्त बैनुल-अक़वामी मीडिया आउटलेट से गुफ्तगू कर रहे थे। पाकिस्तान का मुकदमा मौसर अंदाज में पेश कर रहे थे। वापस आते हैं आज के इक़्तिसादी प्लान के हवाले से जो कि पेश किया जाएगा, रिपोर्ट के हवाले से जो पेश की जानी है। अब से कुछ देर बाद वफाकी वज़ीर ख़ज़ाना रवा माली साल के इक़्तिसादी सर्वे पेश कर रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल, और इस हवाले से मज़ीद हम जानेंगे। हमारे साथ हमारे तज्ज़िया का मौजूद हैं इशफाक तोला साहब, हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। मोहम्मद सुहेल साहब ने भी हमें ज्वाइन किया है। सबसे पहले रुख करेंगे इशफाक तोला साहब का। इशफाक तोला साहब, जिस तरह से शरह नमू में हमने कमी देखी है, हदफ अचीव नहीं कर सका पाकिस्तान, क्या लगता है आपको पाकिस्तान को क्या मेजरमेंट्स लेने की ज़रूरत है? जिस तरह से वफाकी वज़ीर ख़ज़ाना मोहम्मद औरंगज़ेब साहब ने भी एक बात की है, उन्होंने कहा है कि बोल्ड स्टेप्स लेने की बात की है कि हम लोग बजट में शायद कुछ बोल्ड मेजरमेंट्स ले सकते हैं। तो क्या लगता है कल का बजट जो है कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है? क्या कोई फ्रेमवर्क मुख्तलिफ होगा कल के बजट का? क्या लगता है आपको, क्या राय है?
थैंक यू वेरी मच आपको और आपके तमाम नाज़रीन को ईद मुबारक। देखिए, बजट का कोई फ्रेमवर्क चेंज नहीं हो सकता, कोई बोल्ड स्टेप्स नहीं होंगे। शायद यही हो सकता है कि कुछ अनअचीवेबल टारगेट्स रख दें, और जो बाद में फिर आप, जैसे पिछले साल हम कहते रहे, लाइव इनको सवाल किए गए कि आप बताएं कि जी ये टारगेट जो आपने रखे हैं 12,900 बिलियन के, आप क्या अचीव कर पाएंगे? उन्होंने कहा जी बिल्कुल हम कर पाएंगे। आज आप देखें कहाँ खड़े हुए हैं। तो मेरे ख्याल से ये बातों की हद तक तो ठीक है। वैसे टारगेट भले चेजिंग होने चाहिए, बट मुझे नहीं लग रहा कि कोई इस किस्म की बात अब नजर आ रही है। जो टारगेट उन्होंने रखे हैं FBR के इस मरतबा 14.13 बिलियन, यानी 14,130 बिलियन। अगर अनलेस के आप कोई ड्रास्टिक मेजर लें या कोई नए आप टैक्सेस के एवेन्यू निकालें, मेरा ख्याल है फ्रॉम द वर्ड को इट इज अ नॉन स्टार्टर। सो मैं ये नहीं समझता कि कोई ऐसी बात होगी। दूसरी बात आपने ये किया कि क्या मेजरमेंट हो सकते हैं। एक ही मेजरमेंट है जो कि अब ये रेसिपी बना रहे हैं, जो हम अखबारी तलाशों में देख रहे हैं कि जी ये चाह रहे हैं कि जी इम्पोर्ट खोल दें। यानी जो PM की टीम है इकोनॉमिक टीम है वो चाह रही है इम्पोर्ट खोल दें। और मैं बड़े अफसोस के साथ कह रहा हूँ कि 4 दफा ये सुहेल भी हैं, वो भी आपको एंडोर्स करेंगे कि हम नोज डाइव कर चुके हैं। जीडीपी ग्रोथ तो आप इम्पोर्ट लेट कर सकते हो, जब आपकी पोजीशन वाइस वर्सा आएगी, प्रेशर आएगा आपके ऊपर डॉलर पे, आपके पास इतने रिजर्व नहीं है कि आप ये एक्सपेरिमेंट अब कर पाओ। अगर आपके पास होते 20 से 30 बिलियन डॉलर तो हम कर लेते, अदरवाइज मुश्किल है।
ठीक है सुहेल साहब, आपकी तरफ आते हैं, वक्त हमारे पास कम है। 2 चीजें बताइएगा, क्या पिछली दफा हमारे जो टारगेट्स हमने सेट किए थे वो गैर हकीकी थे? दूसरी बात, ताजिर दोस्त स्कीम से हमें बड़ी उम्मीदें थी टैक्स पेयर्स बढ़ाने के लिए, टैक्स नेट बढ़ाने के लिए, उसमें हम बुरी तरह फ्लॉप हुए हैं, उसको आप किस तरह देख रहे हैं?
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। देखें, जो टारगेट सेट किए थे जीडीपी में, तो आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि हम 3.6 की जगह 2.7 या 2.8 हैं। मगर देखिए, पाकिस्तान का जो क्राइसिस रहा है और रहा था 2 साल पहले, वो करेंसी का क्राइसिस था, वो इन्फ्लेशन का क्राइसिस था। जीडीपी का कोई क्राइसिस नहीं था। जीडीपी तो उसकी एक आउटकम होता है। तो अगर हम जो क्राइसिस से गुजरे हैं, करेंसी का या इन्फ्लेशन का, अगर उसको हम पैमाना रखें तो पिछला साल तो हुकूमत ने दोनों पे बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म किया है। इन्फ्लेशन भी तवक्कुआत से कम है और करेंसी जो है वो स्टेबल रही है। और दूसरी जानिब पाकिस्तान ने कोई 2 डिकेड्स के बाद करंट अकाउंट और प्राइमरी अकाउंट सरप्लस किया है। तो मुझे तो लगता है कि ओवरऑल जीडीपी की परफॉर्मेंस शायद बुरी रही हो, मगर स्टेबलाइजेशन की पॉलिसी जो आईएमएफ की साथ हुकूमत कर रही है, उसमें हुकूमत काफी हद तक कामयाब रही है। और जो अगला बजट जो कल आने वाला है वो भी उसी सिमत होगा कि हम स्टेबिलिटी के साथ ग्रो हों, हम ग्रेजुअल ग्रो हों, रादर देन एक ऐसी ग्रोथ जो फिर हम सस्टेन ना कर सकें। तो मुझे लग रहा है कि अगला साल भी हम कोई बहुत ग्रोथ वाले फेज में नहीं जाएंगे। अगर 4% भी अगर हम अगला साल अचीव कर लेते हैं तो मेरे ख्याल में एक जख्मी कमजोर इकोनॉमी के लिए एक डिसेंट रिकवरी होगी।
टैक्स बेस की बात की सुहेल साहब, उस पर भी कमेंट करते हैं। ताजिर दोस्त की हमारी वैसे परफॉर्म नहीं कर सकी, जो उम्मीदें थी हमारी वो बर नहीं आई।
जी, आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा। ये एक एरिया है जो प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं है। और अब आपको पता है वजी के हर चीज जो है वो डिजिटाइज है, डॉक्यूमेंट है तो हो सकती है। और वो एरिया जो डिजिटाइज नहीं है वहाँ पे बहुत चैलेंजेस हैं। तो मेरे ख्याल में हुकूमत को फोकस इसी पे करना चाहिए कि जो आप जब टैक्स रिटर्न भर रहे हो तो आपका टैक्स ऑटोमेटिकली, आपका खर्चा ऑटोमेटिकली, आपकी कैलकुलेशन ऑटोमेटिकली आ जाए। क्योंकि बहैसियत कौम हमारा गवर्नेंस का स्टैंडर्ड ये है कि जहां भी जिसको भी